Okay, thank you very much for joining today's WebEx session on LogPoint version 5.5. My name is Janne Nyman. I'm the Knowledge and Community Director here at LogPoint. I'm in charge of training, product documentation, and I also work with product marketing to deliver a series of webinars to our customers and to our partners. So today's session will be a few different topics I would like to cover with the LogPoint version 5.5 to get those of you who haven't seen it before up to date on what's new, where can you obtain LogPoint, the latest versions of documentation, release notes, softwares, applications, and so forth. If you're looking to upgrade to version 5.5.2, which is the latest version, I want to put you up to speed to where you can get the information, where you can read more about it, and kind of the steps involved to do so. We'll also talk about clean install, because I've seen a lot on the community that we have online on LogPoint Help Center that many people are asking about cleanly installing version 5.5.2. So I'll talk you through that as well. And then we have some additional resources. There are some links that I want to share with you guys in relation to the components we use in LogPoint. But also, if you want to read more and if you want to download the software, I have the links in this presentation, and I will also share this presentation once we're done here today. And of course, I'm more than happy for people to stop me there and then. Any feature you want to talk about, anything you see that I present to you, by all means, let's keep it interactive if you want to, more than happy to, or we can open up at the end for additional questions if there's anything you think about throughout the presentation. Are there any questions before we start? No? Okay. So let's see. So what's new with LogPoint? I will show a few of these things in the interface as well, and not just talk about it and show slides. But in brief, I've taken the key features, the most important features of LogPoint version 5.5.2 here. So we have improved our visualization heavily. That means we're using some new components for visualization. So one is called plottable.js and one is called d3.js. For some of you, this may not be important. You may not care what these components are called. But I know for some of you that may be a little bit more technical and want to know what components are running in the back end, this may be very, very, very interesting for you. So in terms of improved visualization, what do we do? So I'm going to drop between the slide here and LogPoint just to show you a few things. So first and foremost, I'm going to share with you a few links. So we're using plottable.js for some of our graphics. And these are some of the things that you can do with Plottable. It's a graphical framework that you can use, and you can plot things up in different shapes and forms within the interface. So I'll share these links to you in the presentation. And then we also use d3.js, which is a pretty new hot thing where you can plot pretty much anything and you can get very fluent graphics and visualization. So these are the frameworks we use in the back end. So what does this mean within LogPoint then? So if you guys, are you mainly running on 5.4.2? Is that the version that most of you are running now in LogPoint? Or? Okay, so not running LogPoint yet. I'm getting some feedback here. Okay, that's cool. In terms of differences here with 5.4.2, the ones of you who's been on 5.4.2, maybe you can see how the graphics look here on my dashboard if we just compare. So some of the things we've done, you see the different visualizations we have here. We have pie charts. We have donuts. We used to have pie charts in version 5.4.2. And what you see when I click on something here, we have now enhanced and improved on what kind of drill down features we have. Previously, you could just go in and pretty much select view logs, but here you have many other things. You can filter on protocols and counts and view the logs as you used to do, or do drill down so that you can get aggregation and drill down directly in the interface based on what you click here. So that's the donut chart that we got there. Our area charts and these kind of things, you can go back and forth, you can pinch and zoom on these things. And it's very improved also this area here when you drill into something and you click on the arrow there then to do the drill down into searching. Other things that we have, so you see donut charts, we still have these bar charts, and still that you can get all the kind of detail that you used to have when you do the table output. If I can show you here, let's see. You also see at the bottom here, hope you can see this one, it looks quite good on my screen here. Previously you have these graphical icons that you click on to get your visualization, but in this case what we do instead is we give you the name here. So you have table, bar, area, and so forth. If I wanted to do a line chart, or if I wanted to do a column chart, for example, let's see if we pick this one, we pick another one. But visualization is definitely a big thing that we have spent a lot of time in improving and adding to. And D3.js as a framework, it works really, really well for us, because when you develop and when you write the templates for visualization, we can now standardize the language in a much, much better way than we've been able to before when we used ext.js, which was the old framework. So in short, visualization is a very big thing, and with the new visualization components we're using, we will be able to do more fluent and more dynamic visualizations and graphics in the future, much, much easier than we have done in the past. And then improved drill down, I already covered that in the interface, so visualization and drill down are two things. Incident visibility control. I'm not sure, do you guys use the incident tab at all in LogPoint, and have you seen what it does? Because if you have an incident tab like this and you configure alarms and things like that, maybe I'll show you on this one here. So what you have is when you have incidents in LogPoint, every single alarm that you run in LogPoint, that will be plotted onto the incident tab. And previously, before version 5.5 of LogPoint, then every user on the system will be seeing those incidents that you raise within the interface here. Now in version 5.5 and onwards, you will be able to build something called an incident user group. The incident user group allows you to determine who's going to see what when they log in and when they look on the incident tab. So where do you configure it? What is this incident user management we're talking about? In LogPoint, what we do, let's see, just bear with me 1 second, too many windows open here. We go into settings, and then we look at user accounts, and in here you have something called incident user groups. And the incident user groups allows you to take the different user groups you have on the system, and you can go in and add, and you can say what are the different groups I have in here. And you can go in and add these, and you can then tie them into incidents. So it's very nice that you can only display the information relevant to that level of user right that user has. So you can have a manager of incidents who can close the incidents, and also you can control who can then see the incidents. So that's quite a nice key feature that we have added. Also, I'm not sure if anyone has read up on this, if you already know what this means. We have something now that's called policy-based routing of logs. So we have managed service providers that find it very important to be able to look into some of these logs, and based on the content in those logs, to be able to route these logs to different repositories. So previously, we could only configure a repository, let's say for Windows, and then all the logs that came in, they came into the Windows repository, independent of what kind of content is within those logs. Now with policy-based routing, what we've done is we have exposed the feature. It's a JSON log. If you guys want to read more about this and configure this, I'll just show you where to do that. If we go into our product documentation of version 5.5.2 of LogPoint, and if you open up the administration.pdf, in this document here, you will be able to see we have an appendix that we've added that's just about policy-based routing of logs. I think it's called Appendix A. Here we go. So Appendix A, so that's section number 7 here, Appendix A, policy-based routing of logs. What we do is we have a JSON file, so you need to be LI admin to log into the LogPoint system. And you use your command line, so PATI, or if you use command line from a Linux system or Mac. Within the file system, you can go in and you can configure these kind of file settings. You can say if something is destined to come into a repository, for example, if that's called default, you can say anything that's matching in here. If you find a log that has source port available as a normalized field, you can then say, take this log message, and actually, instead of storing it in the default repo, you now say you want to forward the log to repository number 2. And so you have actually named a repository called repo 2 here. So this is definitely a big key feature. We've had this request for quite a few managed service providers, and we have now implemented this as a more kind of technical version that you need to configure these kind of repositories on the command line. And what we're thinking as well, depending on how the market sees this, how many people are using this, this may also be one of the things that we're looking to expose in the user interface so that you can configure everything from the same place. Is this a feature that some of you think that you will be using? Would be nice to have some feedback. Okay, let's carry on. Additional time zones. So we've added a few more time zones in LogPoint. I think that there was something that was quite significant, at least me, with my Finnish heritage. We didn't have Helsinki as a time zone before. Why, I don't know, but we have actually added that now. And then more features, so raw syslog forwarder. Many of you have asked us, is there any way that we can take all the logs or build up rules of logs that comes into LogPoint, and can we then forward them in a selective manner to something else? It could be you have a syslog server, you have another SIM solution, another log repository of some sort, and you want to keep a copy of that log repository as well. And we can do that now. We have something called a raw syslog forwarder that you can configure and you can set up. And in LogPoint again, if you wanted to see in terms of where to configure and what to do here, so we can go to settings. And let's see, so we have knowledge, configuration, and here we have a raw syslog forwarder. In here you can go in and you can say what destinations you're going to forward logs to, and you can also set up the rules to say what do these logs need to match. So you have a target where you're actually going to be sending things to. So you put your name and IP address and port number, if it's TCP or UDP that you're using. It's very important that you specify those targets correctly, because if the target is not specified properly, and if you set up syslog forwarding using UDP, there is no way that we confirm anything, so that you may actually lose logs if you don't check your targets to make sure that they're available and that we can send logs to them. So if you use this feature, make sure that you confirm this properly. And then in terms of improvements, I've checked recently here how many tickets we have closed from 542 up to 550. I haven't got an exact count I was hoping to have, but I can say that we're well in excess of 300 tickets that we have closed from version 542 up to 552. And these tickets are, for example, bug fixes, enhancements, any kind of testing that we've done, new documentation that we've created. So in excess of 300 tickets. And I can also say in terms of improvements, I've been lucky enough to work with our quality assurance team to do some performance testing. And performance-wise, we're probably 30 to 40% more efficient in version 552 than we were in 542. And that's just if we look at throughput, how we manage memory, how we manage send and receive kind of TCP buffers when we receive logs, when we process logs, and when we store it. So 552 to me looks very, very exciting. And I hope you guys will feel the same thing once you have installed and upgraded and once you're on the latest version as well. So these are the improvements I wanted to talk you through. There are some searches and things that we can do now that we haven't done before. I think I need to cover that one as well because that's quite cool. If I do a search, for example, I log into LogPoint and I click on searching. Previously, you could run something like maybe you run a chart count and you did something. I'm not sure how fluent you guys are in the search language, but destination address is what I'm looking at here. And then what I'm building a chart based on this, a chart count. And I build this based on destination address. I order this based on the count column. I say, please show me the highest value first. So I say descending order, and I limit to 10 results. This is what you could do in previous LogPoint versions, no problem. The only difference is now, what if you wanted to also see a representation of, I know these are top 10, but how big of this total here are all the other ones? So we have added a section here called other. So all you do is you type the word other at the end. And that means now that you see that your top 10s, they actually only make up about probably 70 or so percent in here. So 30, maybe 60%. And you can see that other is actually quite a big slice. So maybe you also want to look at those addresses, because if you see other is just a tiny portion, you know that the top 10 is pretty much everything you need to zoom into and that you need to look into. So I think visualization-wise, to have this other slice in here is quite nice for you to get a perspective of, this is my top 10, but what does the rest look like? Okay, so that's pretty much the new features that I wanted to cover off in terms of LogPoint 552. If you're now going to head out and install this, and if you're going to upgrade, what do you need to think about? Where do you need to go? So I'm not sure how many of you have accessed our LogPoint Help Center. So LogPoint Help Center, we put in play around mid-February. We started to introduce some partners and some customers to it. Typically, people would have gone to customer.logpoint.com, but please be warned that customer.logpoint.com will actually close down in the next week or so. There will be some links that you can click on to get to our new Help Center. So if you don't have access to the Help Center, then please send me an email so that we can make sure that you get access to everything you need to have access to. The things that you can get from here, of course, release notes, so anything new that we release, all the release notes are there. Product documentation, any updates, any applications that we release. And in Help Center also, one of the really cool features are, if I just go to Help Center, I'll show you around a little bit if you haven't seen this before. When you log into Help Center, this is where you can see how can we help. Graphical background here. We have a few sections below. We have a community section where you can ask questions. So we have some conversations going on here with some feedback, frequently asked questions, MSSP stuff, search and query language. If there are questions or any ideas you have, any cool things you've done, we like sharing. So we try to share the things that we see in the field, and we sometimes also see that customers are collaborating with each other on here, which is fantastic. And of course, I am going to say that this is really cool because this is kind of my baby. I'm launching this, I'm running with it. So I really want to see all of you in here and asking questions. That would be fantastic. Apart from the community side, for you to obtain LogPoint version 552, you log into Help Center and you click on Product. On the product side, you have things like applications. These are things like normalizers, dashboards, alerting. We have an update section where you can, of course, obtain the software, so LogPoint version 550 and 552. Same with the documentation. I would recommend that you download the PDFs as well for the latest version. And before you head out and start the installation, please make sure that you read the release notes that we have, because the release notes, they will say things like, what are the improvements, what's the enhancements we have. So enhancements is the same as what's new. That's what we call what's new section is called enhancements. So make sure you read this one here. If there are any caveats in terms of backups and stuff, make sure you do your backups before you upgrade. And as per normal, any questions you have with your upgrade or when you plan your upgrade, please send an email to our support team at servicedesk@logpoint.com. So that's where you can obtain it. Just download it from there. And as I said, if you don't recognize that page, if you don't have an account, please send me an email and we will set you up. Let's see. So if we do the upgrade, so, sorry, was that a question for me? No? So if you want to do the upgrade from version 5.4.2, for example, up to 5.5.2, the document that you need to obtain is the installation guide. So under LogPoint 5.5.2, you have an installation.pdf. And this one here will talk you through all the order of the updates that you're going to do. So let's say if you're on version 5.4.0 and you have an updated to 5.4.2, for example, the installation manual is what explains to you in what order you need to do all of this. Yeah. So we have a patch installation section here. It talks about every single version of LogPoint that we have since 5.2.0 in this case, and then what you do to go to the next version. So that should help you there, but do get in touch if there's anything you need from us support-wise. We're more than happy to help you with upgrades as well. And then apart from the upgrade side, we have a clean installation. So at the moment, if you look on the Help Center page, you probably see that we only have an ISO image of LogPoint version 5.2.0. We are working hard to change this. So we're looking to, at least by mid-June, we're looking to release LogPoint version 5.5.2 as an ISO. So that's what we're aiming for right now. And I would recommend, once you have logged in here, if you wanted to get notified of when LogPoint 5.5.2 ISO hits the world, then you can go into installation and you can click follow here. So every section that you follow, new articles and comments or just new articles, you're going to receive an email alert saying that there is now something available or someone has posted a comment in here. So it's quite good that you don't have to be swamped by updating every single area here on the site. You can pick and choose. Every section that you pick and choose like this, you can hit the follow button or unfollow button if you want to be kept up to date on what's going on. So that's why I wanted to let you know here that there is the new method, as in LogPoint 5.5.2 ISO. We're looking to release that in the next month or so. And any questions, servicedesk@logpoint.com, that's our new support email. I think there is a forward still if you guys do something like support@logpoint.com, but I would recommend that you start using servicedesk@logpoint.com, then it goes directly. We don't have to forward or do anything there. So apart from that, I think the only thing I'm going to add to this last slide here is I'm also going to add the URLs to plottable.js and d3.js, just so you guys can read more if you're interested in the visualization framework that we use to plot things up on the dashboards. And of course, sometimes with those kind of things, you guys get some really cool ideas of other visualizations we should have. And if that's the case, send us an email. We'll see if we can take that into consideration when we plan the next major version. So I think that is roughly what I had to present when it comes to LogPoint version 5.5.2 or 5.5 as we call it.